Oh, good morning. It's Matt, and in this episode, we are at a place called Draycott Sleights, and we're going to be flying the Dreamfly AHI. Now, you'll notice that my voice isn't syncing up with what's going on with the screen right now, and the reason for that is let me cut to the wind noise now. Yeah, you kind of get my point. It was super windy. So you'll notice here in the background, I've already been and chucked the AHI off into the sky, and I'm having an absolute whale of a time. I've got to say it. The video footage isn't the best in the world, and it is what it is. However, I had maybe 45 minutes worth of flying time with it, and I was absolutely exhausted by the end of it. It was just balls to the wall, just mucking around, just enjoying the day, and we'll be flicking in and out of some flight footage here and there. So let's talk about Draycott Sleights. Now, Draycott Sleights is down near the Somerset Levels here in the United Kingdom. So I've got a map up on the screen, and if we zoom in, and there's Bristolia where I resided, and we've got these hills here, which are the Mendips. And how I found the Draycott Sleights in the first place. In fact, can I put the layers on? Yes, put the layers on. It's a little bit more pretty. Okay, so Draycott Sleights is over here. I actually found it on one day because I was over here at a place called Crook's Peak, which is just there, I believe, which is a rocky outcrop. No, there's Crook's Peak just there. Which is a rocky outcrop, and you can slope saw off there, you can slope saw off here as well. But I'd walked from the car park all the way along here, up and down, and got over there. Anyway, on the way back with the dog, I was chatting to two women over here, and I said, what's up the other side of here? And what you don't appreciate is the pure, well, you might be getting an indication on here on how hilly this area is. It's quite an epic up and down. Those of you which have ever been to Cheddar, you'll know how steep that valley is, and it's exactly the same down here for the A371. And I came down the hill, and I was chatting to those two women and said, oh, what's up the other side? And said, well, you're not going to like us because it's quite a steep climb, but once you get up there, the view is absolutely fantastic. And of course, I got up the top of here, and the view was amazing. And on that day, I decided that one day very soon, what I'm going to do is walk the entirety of all this edge line all the way down here, all the way down to Wells. So that was my plan, and I went back. And by the way, this story is getting to where I ended up finding Draycott Sleights, because then I worked out how to walk from here, from the top of Axbridge across here to Cheddar. Then I parked up in Cheddar and walked all the way along here. And then that day, I found this place called Draycott Sleights, which is ironically just here, here, and here. Now, you'll get an idea of how windy it is because that is actually a gliding club which is on the top of it. And all of this is a sheer face going, it's non-vertical just here. And there's another little bump just down on here. And I sat on that little ridge just there with the dog, looking at the view, going, wow, this is amazing. I cannot wait to come back and bring a glider back. And I waited and waited for some westerly winds. And what I then worked out on the day, which I did go back, is that you could literally take almost an easterly wind coming across, a westerly wind, which would be a westerly wind would be perfect. However, any south in it would also be fantastic, and even around to a tiny bit of north in there as well, because it would just get funneled all the way along here, and the ridges would still give you lift on top of there. So that's the location. Oh, and by the way, those of you wondering, Cheddar, that sounds familiar. Didn't they name it cheese? Yes, they did. That's where cheddar cheese came from, and that's why cheese is so yummy. Anyway, coming back to the Dreamfly AHI. Now, Dreamfly is a company which I have no affiliation with, but they also do make some models which you've probably already heard of, maybe not the AHI. I'm sure you've come across the Weasel Trek, which looks like that, or like that. And yes, I also own one of those. I did an unboxing video of that a short while ago. And they also have an Allure, which I'd quite like, but I don't think I'm going to buy because I've got the AHI, which I love, and I've already got the Weasel. So I think this one's probably a little bit of overkill. And they also do the Libella, which is a DLG, which, to be honest, I probably won't own because I've already got DLGs here. And they're balsa ones, and never really got on with them, to be perfectly honest. However, the AHI, which is the talk about this video, the purpose of this video and the location, is an absolute stunning model. It's got a carbon fiber lid on top. You'll see you've got the servers in there. You put your receiver in the top, tiny little battery in the front. And it is just an all-round fantastically well-behaved model in the sky. And it is ultra, and I mean this, ultra accurate as well. So that's enough of the screenshots and stuff. Now, I do have some comments here, which I've got written down here in the background. The first one, which is really the biggest one, which is the elephant in the room, and that is the cost of this model. Now, the AHI cost me literally £200, including 4 servos, which ironically didn't fit the model. They were far too small, although they were the suggested ones. I think they were high-tech HS31s. They were just too small. I did put them in a different model later, but yeah, they just didn't fit. So I was a little bit annoyed about that, and it did cost me 200 quid, just over, including import duty. Now, the reason why it was so expensive is the only place I could get my hands on one was from Belgium, so I had to pay import duty on top, and of course Royal Mail charged me an extra 12 quid. Thanks for that, guys. Anyway, if we put the cost to one side for a moment, because you can pick up the AHI from, say, T9 Hobby Sport, which I checked this morning, for about £135, which I think at that price is actually really good value for money. Now owning the Dreamfly AHI and flying it so much, I do think it's worth 135 quid. It is the best slope soaring model I have flown. It is super accurate, and I have 100% enjoyed it. Now, this model itself, I did laminate it because I did pay an awful lot of money for it, and that did mean that I have had to add a little bit of lead to the nose because the laminate does add grams to the back of the model, so it is a little bit heavier than what it perhaps should be, although I did spend £200 on it and I wanted to protect my investment, so that's my only gripe with that. If it had been a £50 model, I may not have laminated it, but then if I'm perfectly honest, I'd probably still laminated it if it was worth 50 quid. But that aside, it does mean that it's more rigid, it will last longer, for all the reasons why you would want to laminate a model. Now, I have been playing with some differential with it, and what I mean by that is that the rolls on it are not absolutely axial. So they're not completely spinning around on the center axis. So what I've been and done with that, with the ailerons, and it's very easy to do within the transmitter, is that I've applied some differential to them, to both the aileron channels, so that I have full movement upwards on the ailerons, but I've been and reduced it by 30%, so the aileron surface doesn't go all the way down like it was before. It's only going down, but 30% less, if that makes sense, to try and help with the model fly in a more axial pattern in the sky. That said, it is one of the most well-behaved models I have flown on the slope by a country mile. I don't think in the last month and a half since I've had it, I have done so many rolls and loops and death spirals and just had so much fun with this model ever, I think, on the slope. It has been a night and day difference from going from having EPB wing-based models to a model which is really designed for the slope, has a rudder, is fantastically accurate, and super slippy in the sky. It just goes where you expect it to go, and it does what you want it to do, and sometimes it's quite forgiving when you screw up, and sometimes it's not as well. So hopefully the model's far away enough on the screen not to see all my mistakes on that. So there you go. I am a massive fan of the Dreamfly AHI. I feel sorry. I'm going to leave this in unedited. The reason why I'm hesitating here is because sometimes when you pay a lot of money for a model, you have to say that you enjoy it and you like it, because it's like the iPhone effect. If you've spent £1,000 on a mobile phone, you kind of have to say that it's good because you spent £1,000 on it. And I know I'm going to spend £1,000 on the model, but that said, it really is the most accurate, most fun slope soaring model I have ever owned, and my only gripe, and I genuinely mean this, my only gripe is around the money which I paid for it, which was literally just over £200. If it had been £135, I would have snapped one up. And I tried getting one here in the UK. T9 didn't have one. There was another hobby company which didn't have one either. And there is some good news. I do know that I did contact Dreamfly. They are coming into stock in late September / early October. So there will be some of these kits getting around at a more sensible price. So that is definitely happy days. And I think the biggest test for any model which I ever owned, which is that if I smash this one up beyond repair, I would categorically go and buy another one. That's how much I like this model. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video running for whatever time is left. I hope that you've enjoyed this little chit chat. If you have any questions or comments about the Dreamfly AHI, please let me know down in the comment section underneath this video. Those of you which I would say are anywhere near Somerset or Bristolia, there's an open invite to you that if you'd like to come and join us slope soaring one day, then maybe pop a message in maybe the Fixed Wings, RC Fixed Wings Rebels group on Facebook. I'll put a link to that in the video description. To register your interest over there, and maybe we could hook up and have some fun on a slope, whether it's Draycott Sleights or maybe another slope. We do fly anywhere from down in the Mendips to just on the edge of Bristol, all the way up to Haresfield Beacon by Cheltenham as well. Anyway, with that said, from myself, Matt, big thank you to you for taking the time to join me here at the, well, I'm at the workbench, but you're on the slope enjoying that view. And I gotta be honest, I think I'll probably cut to a photo. I did spend about 30 minutes just sat there enjoying the view with a cup of coffee because I'd had so much fun with that AHI, I'd burnt myself out and I just wanted to enjoy the view. So anyway, for myself, Matt, cheerios! Cheese. That's cheddar just down there. So if you want some cheese, that's the roll, not that fake stuff. British cheddar. That makes sense. Let's go and get it. And that's the AHI. Yeah, that's coming out alright. The wings I've not taped in or restrained in any way. We'll just put in like that and off she goes. Definitely not the cheapest model I've ever owned, but wow, does it fly exceptionally. And I mean this exceptionally well. Very, very pleased with it. So from myself, Matt,